as of today, video games is probably the biggest way of entertainment outside of movies and TV shows, and you probably thought it was probably the biggest thing that happened back in like the 70s or even 60s when the Pong machine was made. Probably the most monumental thing that ever happened. I mean, it was like the next renaissance. I mean, the most next awakening of our future technology. But it didn't exactly go to plan with companies overdoing it and just over and over selling this literally the same type of stuff over and over again, and people just got tired of it. I mean, it was cool at first, but people just got annoyed. And at a deadline for releasing a game before Christmas time, people were trying to hurry, and games just came out complete poo-poo, okay? They weren't good. They were terrible. I mean, one game would have to be made in just under, I think, 6 weeks or just 2 months or like 3 months. I don't remember exactly how long those game development days took. I'm pretty sure E.T. was developed for the Atari 2600 in like under like 5 weeks at most, I think. And I think that was the deadline for it. But yeah, I mean, these games were poorly made because of due dates of the games being released and companies wanting, you know, quick games to be thrown out before Christmas time. And that really screwed the video game market over. And I'm pretty sure the people who worked on the E.T. Atari game, I think it was just one guy. Just one guy, I'm pretty sure. So the game was extra just not good. And they would throw it on the shelves and people were like, this isn't good. Video games are just not fun. I'm not gonna buy this stuff anymore. And then there we go. It goes with the entire history just lays out there, okay? Copies are being just thrown away, burnt, you know, garbage yards, and it just goes down all hill, and everyone just hates video games and thinks it's the dumbest stuff that ever happened. And this would be the very beginning of the video game crash of 1983, which, to be exact, that would probably be around 32 years ago, which was a pretty long time. But from since then, games have grown back and have become the biggest way of entertainment for all age and genders. While we're here, as in being in the great groovy 70s, I think we should talk about how video game consoles started, because that would be interesting to know about too, wouldn't it? Despite me just saying we're going to be in the 70s, in the groovy 70s, we're actually going to be starting in the early 1950s, which is, you know, to put your time in perspective, I mean, that's like just a couple years right after World War II, which I think it's like kind of crazy to think about. But back in 1951, there was some cool dude named Ralph Beer, I think that's how you pronounce his last name, but he had the idea of interactive television. But he threw that all away, and it was like, forget about it. Until 1966. He created a sort of prototype console that would allow the player to move across the screen, which is, at the time, very monumental. At this time, that's basic coding. And then late 1967, he'd get more funding on the project and make a bunch of prototypes of these game consoles, which were made through these little brown boxes. And there was one prototype by the Wikipedia. It just says players control dots chasing each other and a light gun shooter game with a plastic rifle. And then by August 1967, Beer and Harrison had completed a third prototype machine, but Beer felt that he was not proving successful at designing fun games for the system. To make up for, he added Bill Rush, who had helped him come up with the initial games for the console of the project, and he soon proved his values to the team by coming up with a way to display 3 dots on the screen and rather than the 2 previous, and proposing the development of the ping pong game. Yep, ping pong, ping pong. And by the great year of 1969, they had produced the 7th prototype, which is, of course, what I just showed you like a couple of seconds ago, or a minute ago, the brown box. They'd approach television malfunctioners, you know, first interest being the RCA, which I don't exactly know what that is, and then finally Magnavox, who, you know, made some deals in mid-1969, and then finally had an agreement in January of 1971. And they designed the machine, and they did some re-engineering with the stuff inside, and they did some, you know, they made game cards, and then there we go, they were done. And then set launch date was September 1972.
Magnavox presents Odyssey, the electronic game of the future. Odyssey easily attaches to any brand TV, black and white or color, to create a closed-circuit electronic playground. Odyssey gives you all the exciting action of hockey and 11 other challenging play and learning games for the entire family. Odyssey, a new dimension for your television, now at your Magnavox dealer. He's listed in the yellow pages.
Yep, that was the first home console by my research. If it wasn't, then you blame Wikipedia on that. I guess I should have listened to my teachers telling me that Wikipedia is not a trustful source after all, if it wasn't correct. But yeah, that would be one of the first generations of consoles, and that would practically start a revolution in technology today, in the 2000s, in the 90s, and in the 80s. I mean, it started basically a human revolution. See, now that I got the history of video games out of the way, I think I can just, you know, skip over the 70s, because that's not really, I mean, it's kind of the cause of the game crash, because, you know, people back then were releasing so many consoles that just, like, didn't make sense. Half the time didn't work, or like they were literally the same thing, just being remade by different companies over and over again and being sold. It's like, yeah, stop selling me the same things for different prices, okay?
Out here we entertain ourselves at home, so we got an Atari video game. There's so many different games to play. We especially like Space Invaders, zapping those little devils from outer space. It's fun, but personally I think the whole idea of creatures from outer space is a little far-fetched.
No other company offers you as many different video game cartridges as Atari.
September 11th, 1977 would be the release date for the Atari 2600, and this would connect to the video game crash of 1983 because of the games that were sold around that time in 1982, which would make everyone doubt the gaming industry. And there's this other game crash that most people don't remember or just forgotten about. It was back in 1977 when the Atari 2600 released, and it was because of consoles basically being a copy of Pong Machine over and over and over again. I mean, it would just be the Pong Machine consoles would just be all over the place, and that's literally all that there was on the market. This would also be another like side effect cause of the crash of 1983. You know, games being bad or remade too many times or just complete copies. Around the late 1970s and early 80s, arcades were becoming really popular. I mean, like probably the biggest form of way of playing video games and making money at that time was through arcade. And I mean, it was like the hangout spot for teenagers at that time. Same at this time when the Atari 2600 got a hold of Space Invaders. I mean, home console things were just like the thing. I mean, it was so big after the collapse of Pong consoles. I mean, I think the Atari 2600 revived the video game market, but also at the same time killed it. Around this time in the early 80s, they would come out with the Atari 5200, which also, I mean, wasn't as big as the Atari 2600, but it still made some sales. And with the big coming of video games, video game consoles and video games were in very high demand. I mean, everyone wanted one, and that would also lead to the crash of 1983. In 1982, Atari had lots of third-party game developers, and that would allow a bunch of games to be made for the console, but only a couple were actual hits for the console. And these third-party developers would allow the console to have a big library of games, which led up to store shelves being just compiled with these games that no one wants to kind of buy. And this would also affect the home computer industry, because space shelves were being used up for video game console games and consoles, and you know, home computers weren't getting any of that, and their industry was going low. And with the low quality of these games, people wanted refunds, and companies couldn't give back all these refunds, so stores would mark down the prices of these games, and it'd soon just, you know, completely disappear because no one wanted them. And all this market, you know, just like completely shutting down. Magnavox themselves just, you know, completely just cut out on the video game industry. Activision, who also worked on some of these games, started making games for personal computers at home themselves because of the game market being so terrible. With everyone just, you know, cutting out on video games because it was like the worst market in 1983, people would start resorting to personal computers for games, or just, you know, other basic things you would use a computer for. The most popular computer on the market would have been, of course, the Commander 64. I mean, it's probably one of the most well-known older types of computers out there. The game companies would switch up and start making computer games on floppy disks, except cartridge games for your Atari 2600, your Atari 5200, and your other Coleco consoles. And that, what I maybe have said for 10 times already, is the death of the video game market, as no one is buying it. Shelves are being stocked with computer things, not your gaming things, and that would be the death of video games for 2 years, actually. And to go back to another reason why the game market would just, you know, go downhill is because of the quality of video games. And if you know anything about the game crash of 1983, you know one particular game that just made everything just yeah, that game, something called the E and a T. That game had such a short deadline that I think only like the 3 to like, I think only 1 person working on it barely got anything done in the game. Only just like some weird type of level design where you like go into this like these crater holes and you do something. I don't know. I mean, I'll show you gameplay of it to see if you understand what's going on in this game. And they were doing this to get out games before Christmas time, which if you want people to buy stuff for, you know, Christmas, you want the quality of the game to be actually good, don't you? But, you know, they decided, no, we just want, you know, quantity over quality, I guess. So here's a speed run uploaded by IGN, and, you know, just try to see if you even understand what's going on in this game. From watching it, I guess you just walk into random craters and pick up and collect stuff. So yeah, that was the ET speedrun. I did not understand a single thing that went on. The only thing I understand there is that he like went into like random holes and like collected something and it flew up randomly. I don't understand the other half of the parts, but you know, I understand why this game crashed the entire stock market of the games. What would you call it, stock market? I don't know. And here's like, I don't know, 29 years later, cartridges being found in like garbage yards in New Mexico. Also, this being uploaded by IGN.
You guys take a picture. We found an intact E.T. the video game. I don't know if you can see, the actual cartridge is in there. It's still in there. You know what? And the instructions are in there too. So for those of you who doubted, there's a whole hell of a lot more games down there. We just saw them, they're coming out. E.T. is definitely here. You didn't come out here for nothing, and this movie wasn't a total waste of time. Awesome.
And if you looked really closely, there's also some other games that were thrown in there, like that one Indiana Jones game that also people just thought was low quality and wasn't good at all. That also was contributing to the failure of video games. And there are some other games I don't remember. I only remember Indiana Jones and E.T. because I watched that one Netflix original show that was talking about it. But I think I have gotten my point across about the crash of 1983. You know, people just, you know, didn't like video games and thought it was stupid, so they stopped buying those and started buying computers. And then, you know, the stock market was just terrible until like a new console came around, which I think you guys all know what that would be. And, you know, before this, Nintendo actually made some of these, you know, kind of just low effort and recopies of these Pong machines or these weird looking accessory looking consoles. And before, I think during the crash, they made the Game & Watch things, which were just little handheld that were like, imagine a handheld with a calculator type screen that would be like little mini games. But they decided to come out their own consoles, which would be what you would know as the NES and the Famicom. And this would basically like revive the industry of gaming and forever would change gaming a whole.
Will it be you? Will your family be the first to witness the birth of the incredible Nintendo Entertainment System? Will you be the first to see, to touch, to play with Rob, the extraordinary video robot? He follows the commands you put on screen to help you tackle even the toughest challenge. Will you be the first to raise the incredibly accurate Zapper and play games like Duck Hunt and Hogan's Alley? The first to build a library of game packs like Kung Fu and Golf? even games like Excitebike that you program yourself. Will you be the first to get all this in one package? The Nintendo Entertainment System, where video technology is more than a game.
こちらゲームポリス光信号とロボットの作動をキャッチ。
ファミリーコンピュータとロボットが合体したあの新しいゲームか？
はい。あ、今ブロックからジャイロへソフトの切り替えが行われたようです。楽しみを独り占めするのは禁止されている。
ファミリーコンピュータロボットブロック。
And that would be the first of revival of the crash of the gaming market was through those consoles. I don't know what happened in Japan. I don't know if they had a crash there too, but I'm pretty sure it was all around the world, so you know, I don't know. And you know, the video game market, I keep saying that like I mean it completely died, but it was like on life support. Basically, the only things keeping it alive were, you know, the personal computer games through Activision and electronic, what the flip? How do you say it? Electronic Arts. I don't know why it took me that. I don't know why I started that hard. But back with the NES, the Rob toy would convince toy retailers to sell the NES. That's what got the shelves back with video games, was toys. Yummy. And with that, that's basically how the crash went. I know I may or may not have explained it in the most stupidest and repetitive way, but I don't write scripts for these videos, so I don't realize if I do or not. So if you didn't learn anything from this video, I guess that's kind of my fault. Also, it's not like I'm making money or being held at gunpoint for this. So go watch another video on it if you didn't learn anything on it, or look at the Wikipedia, do some reading like I did. But with that, I'd like to say that I'm done making this video, because yeah, I know most big YouTubers spend like, I don't know, like weeks upon their videos, but I'm not that patient of a person, so I want my videos to be done with and done with already. So I think the last couple of minutes can be lasted on ads I just like found on YouTube for the NES, because I downloaded all of these and I kind of want to use them in the video. So here you go.
If you think you've played in-your-face basketball before, wait until you shoot some hoops from Jalico. You'll run and gun, jam and slam in the fastest schoolyard game in town. Here's action so real, you'll see it come to life right before your eyes. Hoops, and for exciting baseball, swing for the fences with bases loaded, both for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Live action that never ends.
Word. What is the word?
Moon River?
To the moon, Ellen!
Man on the moon!
Everybody trying to guess the word. I said a word. What is the word? A word.
TV! It's a TV!
Nintendo introduces Anticipation. It brings the board game into the video age.
You gotta have fun playing along. Word. Guess the word.
Anticipation. Now you're playing with power. Word power.
Watch Zelda become a legend on your Nintendo Entertainment System.
Zelda!
After rocks!
Which way you go? Good times! Pee hands! Levers! Zelda!
The Legend of Zelda. A never-ending adventure new for your Nintendo Entertainment System.
Zelda!
Power. Now, you are playing with power.
Punch Out by Nintendo. 11 world-class contenders. Take them down with your controller, beat them all, and you've got a shot at Tyson's title.
Power.
But for that, you've got to beat Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out from Nintendo. Now you're playing with power.
The challenge is Metroid. The power is Nintendo. Defend the planet Xephus against the evil Mother Brain. It's survival or destruction. Do battle or die. Metroid only from Nintendo.
Did you see the latest Nintendo newsletter?
Whoa, nice graphics. I'd like to get my hands on that game.
You mean you haven't played it yet? We can play it on my Nintendo Entertainment System. It's The Legend of Zelda, and it's really rad. Those creatures from Ganon are pretty bad. Octoroks, Tektites, Levers, too. But with your help, our hero pulls through. Yeah, go Link, yeah, get Zelda.
Awesome.
Intense.
The Nintendo Entertainment System. Your parents help you hook it up. The Legend of Zelda sold separately.